Shannon.
Hello, beautiful.
How are you?
I'm amazing. Excited?
I am too. We're supposed to do our intro first, aren't we?
I guess what that's why they call it an intro. That would make sense.
Should we do the intro over the music or should we just go for it right here?
Let's just go for it. We're here.
All right, go for it.
Yeah, so hello everybody. I am Shannon Mitchell, a black millennial business owner. I am the founder of ShealoGlo, an all natural handmade shea butter company, and I'm a champion for your self-care, business care, and intentional wellness.
Hey
And
y'all, I am Christine Gautreaux, a white social justice advocate, an international speaker, coach, and published author who helps you upgrade your self and community care.
love it.
You gonna tell them who we are together?
Yes, and together we are Women Connected in Wisdom, a podcast grounded in the 8 dimensions of wellness. We're going to have our show every Wednesday at 5. This week we're doing us so that we can introduce ourselves to you. And from now on, we're going to have experts in the different dimensions to make sure that we have resources and tools that we can use to be dimensionally well together.
Right. And we're coming on today on a Saturday because we were going to do it last Wednesday. And here in the United States, there was some other stuff happening. So we decided that we're going to pay attention to that,
Yes.
take a deep breath, and then come on together after we've gotten a little sleep and grounded ourselves, right?
Yes, yes.
So we are both coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia. Right?
Yes.
Raise it in the house. I'm a little north of Atlanta, but we had some exciting stuff happen this week. So how are you? And should we start with the how are you or the why we're doing this together, Shannon?
So, I mean, you asked, how am I? I can definitely answer that question. Again, I'm great, Christine. I told you I got more rest than expected, which is always a beautiful thing. And because we were supposed to record this before, I've been looking forward to it, with everything that's going on. Let's just be transparent, right? I knew that it was going to be interesting. You and I doing a podcast together, and not doing it on Wednesday was interesting, but I realized it was going to be even more of a thing. Me as a black woman and you as a white woman doing a show together after everything that happened last week. So not like it wasn't relevant after these hundreds of years, but especially after last week. I'm excited for us together to talk about wellness with women, to show them what it can look like in a healthy way, and to learn stuff from everybody that's part of it. I can't wait to be more set up and to live a fuller life.
Right? Because, just to give you all a little backstory for our listeners,
Yes.
Shannon and I met through our dear friend Joe Ventries, who's going to be one of our first guests next week. And I have been running manifesting masterminds for probably close to 10 years now.
Mm.
And so one of the things that I do in business is I support women and people who identify as women, entrepreneurs. I support them in the work they're doing in their world, and especially around self and community care. Because myself, I'm an artist, I'm an activist, I'm a caregiver. All of those things, especially when you add on top our other responsibilities as women, are a lot. And so Shannon and I have been in community and in this group together for
2 years.
2 years. See, I always
2
say
years now.
because I'm turning into my mother where I forget, like, time does this weird warp thing that,
Yeah.
so 2 years. And we've been talking about this and having some really deep and interesting conversations.
Yeah.
And so we're excited to share with y'all, our listeners, and each other. Like, it's a little bit of accountability for us each week. Like,
Definitely.
what's going on in the world? What are our different perspectives? So, we had history last week in Georgia on Tuesday.
Yes.
For those of y'all that don't know me yet, I am completely a political nerd. I think it's a part of anti-racism work and a part of my social work. And so have been working on the ground with lots of organizations here for years. So really excited to elect Raphael Warnock, Reverend Senator Raphael Warnock, and John Ossoff
Yes.
to Senate last week. And we had, I don't know, what do we have? 4 hours maybe, because
Right.
we didn't get Asaf confirmed until Wednesday, so we may have had 4 hours to celebrate before all hell broke loose in our capital.
Right.
So so yeah, like, whew. And the more that comes out about it, and the deep divisions, and especially around racism,
Right.
and I don't know what you were seeing on your feed, Shannon, but on mine, so many white people shocked. This is not America. This is not who we are. I'm like, where you been?
Right.
Where you
Do
been?
you know America? Right.
Because, when you see Black people as criminals and you see terrorists as Muslim
Right.
or people that aren't from this country, then of course they don't see white people as terrorists or criminals, which
Right.
those folks that stormed our Capitol were.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, there's so much work to be done, my friend.
Yes.
Mm. So holding both, right? Holding the grief and the gratitude, holding the gratitude of relationships, the gratitude of the work that's been done in Georgia for years, especially led by Black women, to get these senators and change the state of Georgia's politics. Well,
Yes.
actually, let me change that. Our politics have been blue for a long time. We've just, due to suppression, it hasn't been shown to the world. So
Right. That makes sense.
yeah. So the holding that, right? Holding that celebration at the same time we're holding the holy shnikes, we got a lot of work to do.
So much work. And that's why we're having this, because it can be overwhelming when there's so much work to do in the world and there's so much work to do in your life. People are sick. Corona has shut stuff down. Situations look different. Where do you start when you're worried about your family and then just all of these things, So that's why we're talking. So we can be genuinely whole and well and have the tools that we need to address situations like this, and not always by me as somebody in Atlanta driving all the way up to the Capitol, right? But being able to do what I can here and then still be balanced and still be sane.
Well, I know because we're friends and colleagues that you have a new company. You said at the beginning of our intro about your business, but every time we talk, I want you to tell folks what your company is, because I'm going to start rubbing my hands and they're going to be like, what? But this happens every time I talk to you, my friend, and I'm so glad we talk as often as we do, because I take better care of myself because of you. So I want you to tell folks about who you are as far as a business owner and what you've been up to.
Yes, no, so I love it. So what Christine is using is shea butter, right? And look at your face. I love it. I love it too. It makes you feel so taken care of. And it's funny that something so simple can do so much for you, but it's really changed my life in the way that I think about taking care of myself. I started the company because I was a server at Papado. I was actually kitchen manager, and I stepped down because my mom was sick. Kitchen manager hours are like nurse hours, so working all the time, missing a lot of stuff. And I wanted to spend more time with my mom. She passed away at the end of last year. And of course, before that, with cancer being a huge part of wellness in our society, people being sick, I've been very intentional about the products that I use on myself, right? Natural products that do what they say they're going to do, but also don't have a huge list of side effects that come with me trying to fix one thing. So as a server, the other servers were going to the dermatologist because our hands were so dry. Now the whole country understands that washing your hands and doing all this is going to make you dry and it affects your skin. Hands were cracking. Again, they're going to the dermatologist. I was going home. I was using the shea butter, and because it has coconut oil and aloe in it, I said, I'm so glad that I have this, but what are they using? Because clearly they need something. I started selling it, and when Corona happened, it shut down the restaurant, and I decided not to go back. And I started this business with my unemployment company. So the mission of it is for women to be more intentional about their self-care. What you put on your hands, you taking a few seconds, putting something that's going to help eczema and diaper rash if you have a young baby, and dry skin on your face from the mask, and you could put on your eyebrows, your lips. I love one thing that can do so much for you. And that's what I think about wellness. It reminds me of the 8 dimensions of wellness. And that's what we're going to be talking about on this podcast.
Right. And I want to
Yes.
transition us to talking about the 8 dimensions of wellness, but I have to do my little testimonial real quick first.
Okay.
Right.
Yes.
So, it's cold here in Georgia. Now, for those of y'all that are not from the South, you're going to be laughing when I tell you. But I mean, really, we've been at freezing or a little bit under lately. So anytime it even gets close to there, my skin starts to get really dry and crack, and it starts to hurt. And I'm just going to say, like, it was probably a week or two ago, it was 20 degrees or 25 outside, and I go for a walk. Part of my wellness practice is to go for a walk run every morning. And my hands were hurting because they were starting to do that cracking thing. And I was like, wait a second, where's my
ShealoGlo?
And so I got it and I started putting it on. It was either after the first or for sure after the second time I put it on. I went from hurting to healing, like boom. And I was like, I sent it to my mother because she has the same, like, we have the same thing that happens. I sent it to everybody. And well, I'm not going to say everybody I knew because everybody that's listening is going to be like, you didn't send it to me, Christine.
I want some.
I sent samples to everybody. So if you need one, reach out to me and I'll send you another one. With that holiday, not holiday card that didn't make it out to everybody.
Right.
So let's talk about the 8 dimensions of wellness. Man, I'm looking over here, Shannon, at the opening picture of us, and I was looking down, and I'm like, I got a little double chin that's going on there. We got to talk about physical as the first one, right?
Yes.
As one of the 8 dimensions of wellness. What are the other ones?
So we have mental and emotional, right? We've talked about that a lot this year with everything going on. There's occupational. I hit on that when I was talking about stepping down from a kitchen manager position back to a server, right? We've talked about that with the increase of unemployment this year. There's environmental. Now, I've always been an outdoors person, but I definitely spend more time outside now, more than I used to. But not just spending time outside. I think about throwing away plastic or recycling. How do you minimize your footprint? That's one way to be more environmentally well, right? There's financial. Of course, that goes hand in hand with occupational. And that's been another topic.
Can I just say something really quick about financial?
Of course.
When I was a baby social worker, I used to do home studies for years. And people have a harder time talking about their finances than they do talking about their sex life.
Wow.
There's no lie. Right?
I thought you were going to say their kids.
Nope.
No.
I would have done. No, really and truly. Like, finances are one of those things that people, and in my experience, and I think it changes for different generations. So I'd love your feedback on this because we're 2 totally different generations, especially for women my age, which I'm 50. So we didn't talk about finances. Like, it wasn't something that we were really taught, and maybe that was just my household and where I was raised, but we didn't talk about it a lot, and we didn't it was one of those things in my family of origin. We didn't talk race, religion, politics, or finances.
That's interesting, though. It's true. It's true. And I think it's a lot. I don't think it's just your house or your generation. I think it's definitely a thing. And it's interesting because I told you ladies about these books that I've been listening to the Audible for, or on Scribed, actually, the audio books. And one book that I love is Secrets of Six-Figure Women. And it was specifically talking about how women are left out of the conversation about money, about politics, actually, I don't think it said politics. I don't want to misquote the books, but specifically about money. But that sex is all over the place. Sex is one of the things that women are told we're put on this earth for, even though that's another conversation that we can have, having more purpose outside of just what our bodies can do,
Right.
So I don't think that you're far off. And I definitely don't think that it stopped in your generation.
And is that the book by Barbara Stanley?
Yes. One of them.
I'm going to write that. And and we'll drop this in the notes after
Of
this
course.
podcast, but I also wanted to put that out there that,
Yes.
because I know both you and I love this. We're resource givers. Like,
Yes.
one of the things we do with all the women we support in our businesses is give them resources.
Of
Like,
course.
how do you do this, right? How do you do your occupational and your purpose in the world? I'm a big believer in it takes all of us.
It
Like,
does.
it takes a village, and having you, having our Monday group, having
Yes.
all the amazing women I have in my life that I'm connected to, I am because they are. Like,
Yes.
hands down. And there's some awesome men in my life too, don't get me wrong. But
Definitely.
my friendships and collaborations with the women in my life, yeah. I
Yeah.
just and
Irreplaceable.
yeah, well, and unfortunately, I think there's a lot of myths out there too. You and I had this conversation. Like the myths about women can't be friends, or,
Mm-hmm.
they don't support each other. And in our lived experience, sure, we
Mm-hmm.
got a couple of those.
Right.
Everybody does, right?
Definitely.
But
Definitely. Yes.
overwhelmingly, I
That's not the
have
truth.
more women who support me on my journey and lift me up and celebrate along with me. I just, yeah. And I think that's the other thing we talked about that we want to talk about on this podcast is no, nurturing and cultivating those relationships, right?
Yes.
Because that comes in relational wellness
Mm-hmm.
and
And
social,
social wellness, yes, that's the
right?
category. Yep, and that's really important when you're thinking about your wellness and where you are in social wellness. I've had a lot of conversations with the different women in my circle since I got back in town. Doing our check-ins like we do, following up with everybody, and we've been having conversations about being able to stay centered and not overextend yourself because other people need things, especially this year. A lot of people, you got to make sure that you were well, that you can breathe before you put the face mask on somebody else. That is the rule. And what does that look like in a healthy way? Because we're also taught that we should feel guilty when we do that, and that women should always be there for other people, but we're not taught the priority of our own wellness, financial wellness, occupational wellness, social wellness.
Right? That just made me think. Hang on, I'm going to grab something off my bookshelf. Hang on.
Okay. Let's see
So,
what it is.
my book, right?
Yes.
I should have it
Yes.
sitting right beside me, but it's on my bookshelf. So, Still Point is the book that I co-authored with my dear friend and mentor Sheila K. Collins, and we talk in this book about self-care and self-healing, and we talk about it not being selfish, and why it's not. But I want to read this to you, Shannon, because really I read it to myself often, and
Mm.
it's the thing that if I was going to get a tattoo across my forehead to see in the mirror every morning, this would probably be the one I need to do. And especially after this last election cycle,
Mm.
the book was on the bookshelf. So here we go.
Right.
So self-care is not continuing to educate and train ourselves to withstand more stress in order to take on more stress. That's, just what you were saying. Like the having the rest. Here's another one. Self-care is not putting ourselves through frequent, reoccurring cycles of overwork followed by crashing to recover.
Mm.
That's probably the one I need tattooed on my forehead, honestly.
Yes,
Because, I get excited about work. I get excited about,
me too.
I was doing voter protection last week and training folks to go out and knock on doors to make sure every vote counted. And so it was crucial work at the moment, and it was timely. Like, we only had 3 days post-election to get it done.
Right.
But boy, when we sat that down on Friday and I checked in with my body, you talked to me. I was almost incoherent. Like, you called me and you were like, and I really later, I thought I should text her and tell her I'm okay. Because I really was at that point that I was like, I don't know that I can speak anymore.
I get it.
So I want to say what self-care is. Self-care is tuning in, recognizing earlier and earlier the subtle physical signs of potential difficulties. Caring people, and I'm going to say mostly a lot of women, become good at reading other people's bodies language. Clenched jaws, stooped shoulders, and sad eyes. Self-care means tuning into ourselves and learning how to read our own body language. That
Love
comes
it.
into that physical, and body knowledge
Yes.
of the dimensions of wellness. And then one more, and then I'm going to put this down. Self-care is tending. Being actively involved in a caring role creates the potential for taking on other people's tensions and stress. So by tending to ourselves, we perfect the art of not taking on other people's tension. And when we do take it on, because you know what happens, by
Of
tending
course.
to ourselves, we learn to let go quickly so that we are free to experience a life of balance and vitality.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I know when we have guests, because part of, today's just us, but part of going
Yes.
forward, we're going to have some awesome women that we're connected to on the show and some that we'll just be meeting for the first time. And
Right.
one of the things we're going to do is ask them a few questions. And that question is like, what does wellness and self-care mean to you? So I'm
Mm.
going to ask you that first, Shannon Mitchell, owner of
Yes.
ShealoGlo.
Woo woo. It's interesting because it's literally what you just said, being more aware quicker, of what's actually going on. I haven't known about the 8 dimensions all my life, right? Even as a psychology major, having a bachelor's in psychology, I had never heard of the 8 dimensions of wellness until Google brought it across my page at the beginning of last year. And so being more aware of where I am in all of these categories has really helped me understand what I need to do next. Honestly, even if I'm realizing that I'm not healthy in a category, that is me being closer to my wellness because now I'm aware of it and now I can figure out what I need to do next. So, being intentional, being aware, and then putting action behind all of those things is what I think about when I think about wellness and being well.
I love that. Yeah.
Thank you.
The balance and vitality part for me. And when you and I started having conversations about the 8 dimensions of wellness and researching them, like
Mm-hmm.
they started talking about 6 dimensions of wellness back in the 70s. And then it's been
Right.
like people have added to it. And when I think about them as a whole group, I think balance and vitality. And
Definitely.
I mean, we're human, right? And there's times that we're going to be great at one category. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I ignore another category or,
Right.
I'm stressed or things like that. So even bringing attention to them and having
Right.
the conversation, I think is a good reminder. It's like, yeah, I mean, we can be really healthy physically, but if we have $0 to buy good food, that's going to start impacting the others. Like it's that balance, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I love
What
that.
is,
What about you? What would you say wellness means for you?
well, pretty much just what I read from the book about self-care and self-tending and about balance and vitality. Like what is, am I taking care of myself? Am I taking care of my community? And am I in balance with that?
Right.
Because you know me, you've known me for 2 years. I can get out of balance because I get excited and I get passionate and I am out there. Like, let's do this. And
Right.
then I fall over and have to sleep, right? so, so I like to go back to basics and to be into balance, right? So wellness is for me, like taking it all the way back to the balance, to the beginning for me would be really good sleep. That
Mm.
I'm doing my routines and I am processing stress well enough that I can sleep at night and I'm
Mm-hmm.
drinking good water and I'm moving my body every day, whether that's walking
Yes.
and running, cycling, interplaying, you know, I one of the things I love to do in the world is interplay, which is movement and storytelling and voice. And that body wisdom and checking in with myself on a regular basis and really noticing, to me, that is wellness. Like,
I
how
love
am I
that.
today? And
Right.
and being present, because in these times, especially as a white person, white people have the privilege to check out and not pay attention to some of this stuff. Um, and one of the tools I use is that noticing and the checking in my body to stay in my body and to stay present and to stay as a witness and to stay grounded and to stay in the conversations for myself, my family, my community. So there's also community wellness. That was
Yes.
probably a way longer answer than you wanted, my friend.
No, that's the answer. Then that's what the answer is. Who am I to dictate the length of it? But it makes sense. It makes
Well,
sense.
I get a little long-winded, so if we may need to have a signal. We may need to have a
I was
that
thinking
was
about
a
that.
total left turn.
A little ear pull or something, right?
We'll get some funny paddles that you can hold up and go, 2-minute warning.
Right. Like a Toastmasters meeting, right?
Oh, I am so excited to go on this journey with you.
Me too. I think that it's going to take us in places that we can't even see it, honestly.
Right? Right? So, what are you doing for self-care this week?
So this week, I am. Let me look. Actually, I have my planner right here. It is the end of the week, right? It's Saturday. So let's talk about what I've done. Actually, yesterday was my dad's birthday, and he turned 58.
Happy
So that
birthday,
is
Dad.
Yes, happy birthday, Dad. That
Dad.
is part of my community care, which, of course, like we talk about, goes straight into your self care, right? So I just got back in town, and being able to spend that time with my family was great. I rested today. I have a routine that I do in the morning, right, to check in with myself, just like you said, Christine. And it didn't happen today. I usually say if I'm not done at a certain time, then you got to go on to the next task, right? But it not happening actually means that I slept, and clearly I needed to do that. And so that's what I've been doing and catching up on my list of things for my business since we just launched. It feels great to make sure that I'm on track with everything, and I know what we're doing next.
I love that.
Yes,
I'm gonna put ShealoGlo.com in the notes in the chat. Make sure I
that'd be
spelled
perfect.
it right. I
Okay.
don't think I did. I know I didn't, because you taught me that the E goes before the. Okay, hang on.
Yes, the A.
So
And the reason
go with the
I knew,
second.
okay, and I couldn't even see it at first, so I'll check it. But yeah, yep. My name is SHA and Shea is SHE. So I learned
Yep.
that from spelling it wrong too, and I made it up. So it's okay.
I'm going to, oh, hang on.
Yes.
I did the wrong one. Here we go.
No, that's
I'm
okay.
showing this one. Look, we're playing with all
Boom.
this. Isn't this fun?
It looks great.
So when we start to get listeners and people are on with us when we're on live, if you put your comment on Facebook or on YouTube, we can pop your comment up here. So
Yes,
we
and
haven't
bring you
really
into the
advertised
show.
today's show. So, it's me and you, but we get to play and figure this stuff out. So
It looks great.
yeah, isn't that fun? So, all right. Where were we? I totally left turned us there.
So we were in the dimensions of wellness. We need to give the people the rest of the dimensions. So we have intellectual. What else did we not say? I think
Which
actually
you
that's the
told
only
us
one
on
we
the
didn't.
intellectual. You were reading the Secrets of Six-Figure Women by Barbara Stanny,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I popped that up there just really quick. I probably should
Love
have
it.
capitalized her first name, but that's okay. Um,
That's okay.
can y'all tell we have a new platform on this StreamYard, and we're playing and learning, and that's one of the things I love about collaborating with you,
Yes.
Shannon. You're all like, "Let's do this. Let's figure it
Let's do
out."
it. Yeah.
So yeah, so next week we're gonna invite our friend and amazing entrepreneur, artist, Joe Van Treest Tolliver, Dr. Joe VZ. We'll give you all her specs next week, but
Yes.
holy cow, I'm excited to talk with her.
Me
And
too.
yeah. So what do we want folks to do between now and Wednesday?
Ooh, so I would love to know what's your favorite part of this show was, right? What you took away from it. I know that we were talking about who we were and how we met, what we've been doing. But what I find, again, with the group of women that I've been around is specifically talking about those things, is what really helps. So if we were able to help you figure out a way to apply your self-care in a more healthy way, to be more intentional about your community wellness. Or if you didn't know about the 8 dimensions of wellness, let us know which one you plan on implementing and working on this week. We would love to hear from you.
Yeah, and they can find us, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook,
Yes.
we're on
Yes.
YouTube under Women Connected in Wisdom podcast, and, so let's see, you answered what you're doing for self-care and community
I
care this
did.
week. I'm
Yes, I
gonna
did.
drop in so community care for me this week is, Monday, the Georgia legislature comes on session, so I'm gonna be
Mm.
paying attention because they're already talking some smack about some voter
Mm.
suppression. So I'm gonna be
Mm.
paying attention so I can call and write my representatives. And for self-care, I'm gonna be doing my daily stretching and walks and running and reaching out to dear friends for short conversations, but that connection, that
Right.
connection on
Right.
the social and emotional. So so I am excited that we did this, that we finally
Me
said
too.
go.
Yes.
Is there anything else you want to say before we sign off? Is there anything else we need to say for this very first one, Shannon?
Let me see. I don't think so. I think we're good. I think we hit everything. And I look forward to you ladies joining us on the ride. If there's any questions that you have, again, we said we have the Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Join the conversation. And I just look forward to it growing. I think we've hit everything and we're ready to get the show on the road.
All right. So we talked about what our sign off's going to be because y'all, we're just going for this. So we're going to be playing and seeing what we like and changing. But I think our sign off we agreed for
Yes.
today is this. So
I love it.
be well
Be wise and
and
be
be whole.
whole.
And see
Yes.
y'all on Wednesday. Bye, my friend.
Bye.